Okay, we're recording. All right, so I thought today we're just keeping it so simple. We're doing our back to basics training. So simple, simple, simple. And I guess I'm running out of things to talk about with you guys because pretty much what I've spoken about to date is how you run the business, and you just press repeat on that over and over again, and with consistency and persistence behaviors that you'll be able to max this business out. But there is a big barrier at the moment surrounding launch parties, a massive barrier, and it baffles me because you usually duplicate what your upline does, all the right things and all the wrong things. And what I've done lots of wrong things, but the right thing that I have done was I did build this business completely and utterly on launch parties to around a 5-star level, so cycling around 100 times a week. And so, yeah, I guess I'm not sure where the struggle is with launch parties. I've put up that Thailand trip, and I think 6 people have entered in terms of giving me their score sheet. So at this stage, I think I'll be on the beach in Phuket lapping up that prize. And so I thought I'd bring on a special guest because it doesn't seem like my harping on does much good. Everyone gets sick of hearing me. So I thought I'd bring someone else on, someone else who has a story around launch parties and being very, very, very successful in this business, is actively growing their business quite rapidly. And you will know this lady. She's a 1-star Krystal executive, 4-star Golden Circle. She spent 5 years working for Australia's largest timeshare sales office as the regional sales manager. She said no to Isagenix for over a year and then finally said yes. I wish she said yes to me, but I didn't know this lady back then. But I am looking for her. Started Isagenix in June 2014, so when momentum was at its peak. And reached Krystal executive in just 90 days and handed in her resignation in that September. She's been on 3 ISA derbies, Cambodia, San Diego, and Hawaii, and was the 2015 President's Quest winner along with 3 other Aussies, and they travelled to the Mediterranean with Juma and Kathy. In 2016, me and her picked up the Spirit of Isagenix Awards, and she also was a star ambassador, and her name is Krystal Wilson. So welcome, Krystal. Oh, you're muted. Hang on. I'll unmute you. Are you there?
Hey, thank you.
Hey.
I'm so excited to chat to you guys.
Yeah, well, we're really excited. I'm sure these guys are excited to see your head instead of mine. And we really do thank you. And I know that you're on a time schedule because you've got to jump on another call. So we're going to whiz through this. And I thought we'd just, first of all, just share with these guys how you were introduced to Isagenix, and was it through a launch party?
No, unfortunately, I wasn't introduced through a launch party. I had a face-to-face meeting with Jackson Parr at my home, and he drew out the comp plan and shared what he was earning, and I was like, this kid's earning how much? I was like, all right, I'm in. So I was I was introduced through Facebook, and no one actually, like, I had never been to a launch party. I didn't even know what it was. It wasn't something that Jackson was doing. As you guys, if you know who Jackson is, I'm sure you do, he builds basically on Facebook. So I just really duplicated that.
Yeah, so I guess that's a good point. You duplicated what you were shown what to do. So I know that you have had success with launch parties, and so when did you, in your journey, I mean, you got to exec within 90 days and, you ran really fast, but when in your journey did you first go to your launch party?
Well, yeah, it's a really interesting story. Well, so you remember last year when you did that 30 launch parties in 30 days and you're like driving all around Australia. That was actually, like, I'd heard of launch parties, but up until then I'd never been to a launch party and I'd never held one. So I really had no idea what a launch. I knew what it was, but I didn't know what the contents of that launch party should be like. So when Heidi was doing those posts, I was just like really inspired by it. And that's the honest to God truth. And I booked in my first launch party with people in my team, and I duplicated what Heidi did. I didn't do 30 because she's crazy. She works extremely hard, but I made it a focus. So when was that? Was it like,
I don't know, because you came to one of mine out at Red or something, didn't you?
That was actually the first one. That was the first launch party I've ever been to. Yeah. So I knew you were doing this like launch party road show. So you were coming to Brisbane. So I just kind of like found an invitation to that launch party and to see what you were doing, because I'd never been to one. So I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't know exactly, what to do. So I went to your launch party, and then I just simply, I went to isagenixbusiness.com and I found all the information on launch parties and just watched the videos. And then I just kind of, honest to God, I just winged it. I just set a date and was like, just went for it. And it was really successful. And for us as well, like we have built on Facebook up until that point. I honestly, like, all my messages were over Facebook Messenger. I never got on the phone. I never did anything face to face, and I never did launch parties until Heidi did that roadshow. And it was really interesting because Heidi, as you guys know, you got such an incredible leader. Like, she was traveling all around Australia to do launch parties for you guys. All you had to do was have people come to your home and she would be there, which I thought was really incredible. And it made me really think about, I had huge success on Facebook, but I had enrolled a lot of people who had caught the vision, and they were duplicating what I was doing on Facebook, but not having the same success. They just weren't getting the same traction in their messages or their likes or people reaching out to them. And it made me realize that, being able to connect with somebody and build this business purely on Facebook, it's a whole nother skill set. Some people are just way better face to face. They find it hard to maybe convey emotion through a message, whereas face to face, they're very, easy to connect with people. So what I thought was, I had all these people in my business who were like, really wanted it, were showing up, but they just weren't having success. So I was like, well, what if I just did launch parties? And I'll go and do their first launch party for them. I'll do their first one, then I'll support them in their second, and that'll really set them up, because there is so many different ways that you can build this business. And I think limiting yourself to one, like I was doing, which was Facebook, was like almost detrimental. Like, we got to a certain level in our business because I was successful and I was motivated and I could connect on Facebook, but then there was all the other people who were struggling. So it was really, really successful. We did our first launch party. I don't remember the dates, but with two of my girls, and we had, I think on that day, we had 7 people enroll. They had 20 people show up for the launch party. We had 7 people enroll. I had no idea what I was doing. I'd only seen Heidi's launch party and watched some videos. And it was just like, yeah, cool. I'll just chat to these people and see what happens. And it was so successful. And we've just kind of, since then, it's become a focus for us. Like, anyone that starts in our business who, is posting on Facebook, but not really, well, first of all, we want everyone to do a launch party, but we really do feel that you should be using Facebook. You should be doing launch parties. You should be doing 3-way calls. You should basically be doing everything that is available to you, to build this business.
And I think you said some pivotal things. And I think if you look at your history, you had 5 years spent working within the sales industry. So, you already had a great skill set where you could connect with someone, a stranger. You could build that relationship quite quickly. I'm sure that you had a lot of those skills because you were quite successful in that career. So people that, like myself, came from a nursing background where we didn't sell anything, I think that's where perhaps you recognized, and it was about a year ago that I came and did that launch party that you came to, that you probably realized that people didn't also come with that same skill set. So launch parties, and I've said this before, and I think I did a platinum call on it during the same time, where Robbie Pollock the same as you, got really inspired by that, and you can see her business has exploded as well because she set this culture of launch parties. And I think when you sit at a launch party, or when you conduct a launch party, or when you support a launch party, if you think of the 6 basic skills of a network marketer, you'll think that you'll tick every single one off. Even if it's just inviting people to that launch party, you're actually mastering that skill, right? And so I think it's just a great thing for you to have recognized that, into your journey, that although something was working for you, you realized that launch parties were the thing to take your business to that next level. And I mean, you've definitely done that. So would you say now that your business primarily builds from launch parties?
It's a focus. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely one of our main focuses, whereas a year ago, it wasn't at all. It wasn't anything that I spoke to any new associate about doing a launch party. So it's definitely a focus. And, like for us with launch parties, we really, I've got kind of like the way I invite people, or the way that I coach my people to invite people, the numbers, I feel like a lot of people, they'll try a launch party, they invite 5 people, everyone cancels, and then it's like, that doesn't work, I'm not going to do it. Whereas with any of my new associates, it's like you have to invite a minimum of 25 people, because when you invite 25 people, half of them will say no on the spot, and you'll get 10 to 12 that will say yes, they'll come. And then 24 hours before the launch party, you'll have half of the people that said yes cancel again last minute. Mm-hmm. So it's really a numbers thing. So we I think I learned that from just picking up other people who had spoken about launch parties who hadn't had success. And to me, everything, I love numbers. It's all about a numbers game. And I think that's where people go wrong, is they invite 5 people and all 5 cancel, and then it doesn't work. It's just that people, that's just how Aussies are, man. We cancel last minute on everything. You know what I mean? It's just in our nature. So you need to invite a minimum of 25 people. Another great tip that we started doing is we don't invite people, the way the humans work is that your friends or network are way more likely to do something to help you out personally than help themselves. So in the way you invite people, it has to be on the phone, or with that's the number one way to invite someone. You pick up the phone and you call them, and then if you that's not an option for you, then it's a private message. I see a lot of people do flyers and just do a post on Facebook, or do an event on Facebook and just invite their entire friends list, but never actually personally invite anyone to come. And it's if you're not going to take 5 minutes to personally invite somebody, why would somebody give up an hour and a half of their weekend or their weeknight to come to your home? Do you know what I mean? So just I think it's around for me, when I look at launch parties, if you speak to every single millionaire or platinum in Australia and ask them how they built their business, it's launch parties. So, if you've got a financial goal or a business goal and you're doing what I was doing on Facebook, but actually not having the success that you see others having, then maybe Facebook isn't the way that you should be 100% building your business. Maybe you should be incorporating Facebook and launch parties, and then if you're not doing 3-way calls as well, it's it just kind of gets harder and harder and harder for everyone. So we've kind of trialed and errored. So for us, it's you've got to invite a minimum of 25 people, because on the day you'll probably have 5 or 6 show up out of 25. It's always a personal invite. And the way we invite them, not everyone, but there's people that are on the fence, or actually haven't shown interest that you want to come. Maybe they're your best friends, maybe they're close to you. The way we invite those people is hey, are you free on Saturday? I'm doing my first presentation at my home about these products I've been using, and I'm friggin' terrified. First of all, I've got to speak, and then I'm so worried no one's going to show up. And I was really hoping I could count on you to come and just be a positive person in the room and clap when I speak, and ask them. So you're asking them to come for you versus coming for themselves. So that's kind of how we coach our people to invite, and we found that we get really good numbers doing that, because it's hard for people to say no when you're being vulnerable and, you know, humble and sharing that you're nervous and you're scared about the XYZ. And then what happens is those people are less likely to cancel last minute because you've made that agreement. You've been, you know, really vulnerable, and they've said that they'll come and help you. So they're just some like little things that we do. But I don't know, like, I suppose, you know, Heidi mentioned on the beginning of this call that, you know, she felt that launch parties weren't duplicating. I'd love to know, maybe like from 2 or 3 people, like what's stopping you guys, you know, who's not doing them that knows they should do them, what's actually stopping you from doing it?
Oh, I love it when someone's as direct as I am. I love it.
Don't be shy.
For me, I'm Katrina. I'm quite new to the business side of things. I've been using products for just over a year. To be honest, it was just, the knockback that I was getting. So I did do the flyer thing, and I did speak to a couple of mums at the kinder, etc. Then I had, you know, numbers say that they're going to come, but on the last minute, oh, sorry, I've got this, oh, sorry. And then my momentum kind of went down. But now, after last week with Heidi, I've just said, you know what, stuff it. I'm just going to hold ongoing launch parties. If they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. Well, I'm just going to keep trying to put myself out there and just see how I go from there. So, but it was just initially the more, I guess, how down I felt, I felt like I was being a little bit rejected.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, like, that's totally like a normal human reaction, and that you just got to does anyone know what timeshare is? Has everyone been to a timeshare presentation? So basically I used to work in timeshare, and it's world renowned as the biggest scam. There's not a single person that walks in wanting to be there. How we would get people in, leads, we'd give them those free scratches on the Gold Coast to win a free holiday or a free bottle of wine, and then I would have to sit with them for 90 minutes when they didn't want to be there, and I had to sell them a $25,000 membership in 90 minutes, and I gave them 3 minutes to think about it. So I have tough skin because I've already come from being knocked back and rejected for 5 years. But it's like a skill. I promise you, like, if you have to prepare yourself that you are going to you have to speak to, everyone's got a different like close rate, and I'll talk in like sales lingo because that's just where I come from. But like, some of you might be closing 1 in 10. Some of you might have to speak to 20 people to get one person to say yes. Some of you might need to speak to 30 people to get one yes. So you have to count the no's, get excited about the no's, the knockbacks, the rejection, because the more no's you get, the closer you're getting to your yes. And as you've, like, you know, when you start in this business, the number of no's you're going to get, it gets less and less and less. Like, now I speak to 3 people and 1 in 3 join. So I only have to get 2 no's. But when I first started, I probably had to speak to 10 people, you know what I mean, to get that 1 yes. So you just got to really prepare yourself that you're going to get heaps of no's. Heaps of people are going to cancel their auto ship. Heaps of people are going to not show up to your launch party. That is just the business you're in. But you're looking for that, you know, those 1% of people who are going to say yes, that make it all worth it. So you just really have to know that it's never a personal rejection on you. It's just how humans work. Like, I always give the example, like, you know, all of you have been in the situation. You walk into a shop, you've got 15 minutes to find something. The sales assistant walks up to you and says, "Hey, can I help you with anything?" What do you say? No. You're saying no when you need her help, because it's just what we do. People, if you ask people for a yes or no answer, 99.9% of the time, people are going to say no, and they don't even know what they're saying no to. So that's why it's so silly to kind of get upset about it, because it's definitely got nothing to do with you. You just got to keep going. Keep asking, you're just the messenger. Keep inviting them, keep sending them tools, or, you know, keep telling people that they can get their products for free. That's all your job is to just keep sharing, you know, the message.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if you, I put my launch party, I did a month of launch parties, and every single month no one showed up for a whole month. And so then, it did get to me, and I stopped them. But at what point do you know how you invite the masses? I normally private message them, and then they say that they're coming, and then they cancel last minute, exactly what you've said. Do you then do a launch party the following week and invite the people that cancelled on you the week before? or at what point do you stop inviting the people who have said yes but haven't showed, or they've read the message and they haven't replied? Like, at what point do you kind of like, all right, wow, this is like, do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's our job to keep sharing, but, you know, you've got the people that are saying they're going to come, great, they're coming, then that day they cancel, 20 minutes before they cancel. Yeah. Do you just keep inviting, or what?
I think that the thing is, like, I just ask them. So if I invite somebody to a launch party and they cancel the day before, I'm going to say to them, hey, that's absolutely no issues at all. You know, I'm having them regularly. You know, are you interested in coming to one? So right. If they're going to be either say to you, look, hun, I'll be honest with you, I'm not interested in Isagenix at all. And then it's like, yes, now I don't have to waste my time getting weird with this person. Or what you're going to find most of the time, because people aren't cancelling because they're not interested, they just cancel because we're weird. That's what human beings do. They're going to say, no, I'm actually really interested. It's just not the right, I mean, you're going to get their objection or whatever. So I think it's weird to keep inviting someone and them just ignoring you and saying no. I think it's totally normal if someone accepts your invitation and then cancels, to ask them, no issues, you know, I'm going to be having, you know, a couple over the next month. I would love for you to come, but is it something, you know, do you actually want to come? And just kind of ask them. They'll tell you. And then you'll find it's the same with, like, when people, you know, decline to, I don't know, like they said they're going to join and then they don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to buy Thursday. If you say to them, hey, hun, no issues, you know, are you still interested? Because then once they say yes, or yes, I do want to come, that's giving you permission to follow them up, whether it takes 1,000 times. It doesn't matter, because they've given you the permission, because they've said they're still interested in coming to a launch party. So that's what I would do if you've had lots of people cancel, which is totally what people do, is ask them if they are interested in coming.
Thank you.
No problem.
And I know you have to go, Krystal. So I've been running a few things.
I've got 8 minutes.
Oh, good. Awesome. So, you know, we spoke a lot last week about inviting. That was one of the skills that we covered. But I want to know, in the last 12 months, since you've actively been doing launch parties and they've been duplicating within your downline, I can't even remember your rank when I met you that time at my launch party. I don't actually think I even really knew you until that time. I've obviously seen you grow massively, and you've won all these awards and derbies and things. Could you attribute that success to, I guess, the culture of launch parties within your downline over the last 12 months?
Absolutely, because, you know, like so many, for us, like it was like so many people just was so in love with the product, so in love with the company and the vision, but they were just stuck. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Facebook just wasn't working for them like it was me. So once I was like, well, let's just invite some people to your house and I'll come over and I'll talk about the products. We just play Mary Evans. Like, our launch party is so freaking simple. Like, the person opens the room and shares their 30-second story. We always support one another. So if, you know, we have on Saturday, and 3 other people in my downline came along to support my new girl to share their stories. We play Mary Evans. That takes like 7 minutes. And then I just go straight into asking people, you know, what's their main reason they're here, weight loss, energy performance, go through the President's Pack in layman's terms, and then ask them, you know, who's ready to get started and who would like to know how to get their products for free. Like, it's just like the launch party for me is just so simple. Like, anyone can do it. And if you're scared and you're nervous, literally invite people over and chuck on iSamovie. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. I think that it just, for you, it could be just that you're better at connecting with people face to face, because they can see how you care and that you're genuine. So for us, it's been hugely successful because there's so many people who are like doing so well at launch parties who just, that wasn't happening for them on Facebook. And now they use Facebook still, but it's not the only way they're building. They're now got Facebook, they've got launch parties, 3-way calls. There's lots of different ways that they are able to now connect with people and find new people to help.
And I think leveraging your upline to do a few launch parties with you is the way to go as well. Like, I did a launch party. I've had this girl in my business for 18 months and she's been so against a launch party. She finally did one last week after, you know, and a lot of people would have given up on this particular person, you know, but I never gave up. And that was a question that came up a couple of weeks ago. When do you know when to stop? And I guess, Chelsea, when do you know when to stop? I never stop. I never give up on anybody. I'm always maintaining that relationship with them and loving them for where they're at, right? I want them just to stay on the products, to love it, to build their belief. And so she finally did a launch party after 18 months. And, you know, the feedback she got was, oh, Heidi's like really normal. She's really nice. So it's like seeing another person who's doing isogenics or taking these shakes or has another story that just resonates with her particular friends at the time. Maybe her friends didn't need the results that she got, but they needed my results, or they needed to see that I was normal. And so at the same time, this particular girl is learning how to perform a launch party. She's learning the skills of a network marketer. She's also building the belief that she can build this business too, because she's had 4 enrollments following that launch party. And those 4 people were just there to support her.
Yeah.
Weren't even there as
cool.
prospects.
Yeah, that's so cool. Absolutely.
So are there any other questions for Krystal? Because she's really, really, really time poor, and I squeezed her on here for us, for me.
I was just going to say as well, like, obviously, I'm not sure, like, I'm assuming all of you, there's, like, in the 37 people that are on this call, you know, they link arms with other people. So, you know, do a joint launch party, find somebody that's close by to you that you guys can share that together and invite, you know what I mean? And do a rotation. So I've got quite a big team in Canberra. So what they do is they have a launch party roster. So every like Wednesday night, there is a launch party in our team. And every, like, you know, Renee's doing it one week, then Tesh. And what they all do is they all commit to the launch party. They're either going to be at their house or they go and support the other person, and they can bring their prospects. So you don't have to feel like you're doing it, you know what I mean, on your own. You can do it with, you know, group together and support each other. And then it won't maybe not feel that scary. It's really not scary. I think you can overcomplicate a launch party. Literally, like, what we do is just talk to the people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even really feel like it's a presentation, because the whole purpose of a launch party is to sit on someone's couch and connect. So we literally just play Mary Evans and chat to these people and ask them, you know, what's been going on? You know, what would you like to achieve from it? And just keep it super simple. But I think that you guys, you know, Heidi's obviously had such great success with launch parties, and she's so incredible. Like, you know, I mean, if any one of you called her and said, hey, I want to do a launch party, she would come and support you. But I think it's, you know, really important to step up and, you know, just do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I literally have never been to a launch party. I've never seen anything. I've been to Heidi's one, and then I just went to isogenicsbusiness.com and I wrote down like a formula, like what I would say first, what I would play, and, you know, what I was going to do. And you guys all have the ability to do that. So you should, like, totally just each of you pick a date. This is the next kind of 50 days in isogenics are the biggest. This is where everyone wants to join. Everyone wants to lose weight for summer. So why don't you all just pick a date and just wing it? Like, what's going to happen? You're going to have the people that love and care for you there to support you. And who knows, you might get some enrollments and help some people.
Yeah, and I think you said one word there. I know you have to go, Krystal, which was commitment. And I think people expect like a launch party is going to instantly build them a business, and then someone in that launch party is going to go into their launch parties. And like, sometimes that just doesn't happen. You know, I still have launch parties, although I've got the success story of the massive weight loss and bloody millionaire and maxed out. Some people just still cancel on me. Like, it's normal. It doesn't mean that they're rejecting me. It's just not their time, or they're just tired. And like Krystal said, they're just human. They're just weirdos, you know, like, that's just what happens. So
yeah.
And someone's just asked a question about the Mary Evans video. You can find it on YouTube. You just have to YouTube Mary Evans. But, and Krystal doesn't know this, but I developed a launch party video for all of you to use, which is on our YouTube channel.
Perfect.
And Anna Richards is using it at the moment. I showed her when I was at the Field Advisory Board meeting, and she said that's what she's duplicating in her team now, because she's used it for like 3 consecutive launch parties, and she's had 100% sign-up rate. So
send that shit to me. I was like, thank you. That'll be awesome.
I'll send it to you. It's much longer than the Mary Evans video, but it shares my story. So even if you're just too scared to even open your mouth, all you need to do is play that video and then answer any questions and open the room with your story. That's all you need to do, So it's as simple as that. I wish I'd had those tools when I first started. I just was absolutely a nervous wreck when I first started launch parties. I had a pen and a paper and I read it out pretty much. The poor audience must have been completely bored, but still, I obviously found some sign-ups along the way anyway. But look, Krystal, I know you have to go and jump on another call, so I just wanted to say on behalf of this group and me, thank you so much for jumping on really quickly, because I think sometimes that third-party validation really, really helps build their belief that I'm not just BSing them, that this is like how you build this business quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally think that launch parties is the easiest. Like after spending a year on Facebook, when I did our first kind of like month of launch parties, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I haven't been doing this the whole time. It's so much easier than spending 10 hours in a back and forth Facebook message with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like so much easier. So I think you guys should just go for it. Go for it. What do you got to lose?
Well, they could all be.
I'll love and leave you guys.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. Right. I hope you guys are coming out of and chat to you soon.
See you, mate.
Bye.
So let's open the floor for some questions about launch parties.
Hi, I'll go first.
Yeah, go.
I'm not muted. I'm unmuted, guys. Sorry, I'm just telling my family to be quiet. Question. So Krystal was talking. I think what's probably stopped me is that I don't know the presentation well enough. I've got to make sure I know the presentation. So Krystal just said then she doesn't even use it. So
ever use that back office presentation for a launch party.
Right. Okay.
That's an opportunity meeting. So I think people get a little bit confused. That's an opportunity. A launch party or something that's in your home is very informal. It's more just about the products and sharing you plus 2 them plus 2. It's not necessarily, if you want to introduce someone to the business or the opportunity, you take them to a meeting where somebody is standing there delivering the meeting with the slides that has actually had success within the business.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So and then obviously your launch party video is something that you could play. I don't know if I'd necessarily do that, but I would still want to do sort of my own version of something like that. I mean, I've been to a couple and they do tend to be just a bit long, and I'm thinking, oh, do we need to go through all those slides? I don't know which ones to take out and which ones not. I just feel like, I guess I'm just a bit, confused by that. But then Krystal was saying she doesn't even use it at all. She just plays Mary Evans and then.
Yeah, I don't use the slides at all. So I sort of change it up depending on my audience. So the girl that I was talking about that was sort of really hesitant about launch parties in the business, like she's still got a lot of, I've still got to help her build a lot of belief in network marketing. So the way we did it last Thursdays, we just literally sat around a dining room table with the products. And I went through key products. She shared her story. I shared my story. We answered any objections or questions, and then we got people started. And then other times, if there's a bigger audience, like I've had bloody 75 people at my house once for a launch party in the new year. But, if I've got sort of a number of around 12 up, then I will stand at the front of the room and deliver a little bit more of a presentation. But again, it's always surrounding those products.
Yeah.
The videos are just there and the tools are just there for those people that feel that they don't know the products well enough yet, or they're just a little bit nervous about, at delivering a presentation, but once you play that video 3 or 4 times, you'll find you'll pick up the languaging, you'll pick up, things will start to click, and then you may not need to leverage those videos anymore either.
Yeah, that video meaning your video.
Well, yeah, or the Mary Evans video or anything on, whatever you feel comfortable using.
Yeah, cool. All right. Thank you. I had another question. I forget. It'll come back to me.
It'll come back. Are there any other questions about launch parties? Because I guess there's 33 people on this call, and I know that 33 of you aren't running launch parties. For a fact. I get offer a bloody Thailand trip. I'm thinking, oh my God, I've done more points here. I've done more points than anyone here. Come on.
Heidi,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question, hon?
Yeah, Shelley.
Oh. Sorry, did I talk over someone? There's a delay on my internet.
No. You're right.
Okay, so majority of my team are in New Zealand, as you know. We've tried out a couple of different online launch parties. They are doing them in person. I had someone fly in and do a big, stand in front of the room presentation. So we did that one. The Mary Evans video we can't use in New Zealand. Long story to do with dairy cows, and something she says is actually false, and we're presenting to dairy farmer wives. And so that got us a lot of heated discussion, which was just fun. When you do them online, because we're looking at doing online ones, what have you found that works? Because we're not getting much engagement through the online ones. They seem pretty flat at the moment.
They're very different online, and it's a whole nother skill set than sitting in front of a room and inviting people. Online, there doesn't seem to be that urgency. And I know we spoke last week about inviting people to events, and people, if you're expecting somebody there in person, then obviously there's more engagement in that invitation than just inviting someone online where they think if they don't turn up, it doesn't necessarily matter. So first of all, I think that's the hard thing, is to get people engaged. When you're actually online with these people, it's really important not to just sit there and talk at them. Webinars, and you're probably noticing this now, like we've been online for 40 minutes, and I bet there's people who are like feeding their kids or doing the washing up or unpacking the dishwasher, and they think they're listening, but they're not intently listening. Okay, so they're missing things. So with a webinar, it's really important that you keep the screen moving, so lots of pictures and slides, so before and afters, share stories. Keep it to a minimum of 20 minutes. People will switch off otherwise. So, with an online launch party, I really like to just show lots of before and afters and get people's stories on, and then show the president's pack, and then just follow up with a phone call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're trying to find, if I can do them for people, like I don't have a problem doing them, but it's because, they're 12-hour flights away, literally.
Yeah.
So,
and New Zealand is a whole other market, whole other conversation, whole other webinar.
Yeah, very different market.
Yeah.
Thanks, Heidi.
It's okay.
I remember my question.
Okay, go.
I know you're probably going to say, it depends on the audience, but you've done so many. Have you found there's a better time of the week to do them? Is it a midweek night thing or a mid-morning weekend thing, or do you do both? Do you say come Tuesday night or Saturday at 11? What do you could
do both? So it depends on my audience. So, if you've got a lot of people that are working full-time, then obviously a weeknight's going to be better. In winter, Sunday may be better because a weeknight is cold, it's wet, people don't want to go out. I just really recommend to people, don't stick it to the same time every week.
Yeah.
Personally, on a Sunday, you won't find me really enjoying a launch party. That's time with my friends, my family, Like a weeknight would suit me better. And that's why we always do head office on a Tuesday night. Thursday nights aren't great. People do like late night shopping and things like that. Friday nights aren't great. But then again, I've had my first launch party was on a Friday night, and Paul and Suzanne really warned me about it. And They said, oh, not many people come, and it was like I had people up my hallway, like, so it maxed out. So I just, if you've built enough value in these products, people will want to be there.
Yeah. And you don't turn them into a big sort of catering event, because again, you want to make it easy and duplicatable. So you don't turn on food, nothing like that.
Just bars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Cool.
bars.
Thank you.
Okay.
What's your biggest tip to inspire some of your downline who may be just finished their 30 days, or they've enrolled one person but they're not just yet a consultant? Like, what's your best advice in trying to encourage them to hold a launch party when they're still not, like, they're still in that nervous stage?
Just keep doing them yourself. The only way you're going to get people to follow you is if you're doing it. And that's a frustration I have with people, you know, like I'm there, I did that, I think I did 28 launch parties in 30 days. And out of that, 2 people went off and duplicated, and I got 2 executives from that. But a lot of people still aren't even in the business, even though I flew all that way. And, you know, and so that's why I say just never give up on anyone. And they got to see you doing the do before, you know, they'll do it. I mean, I wouldn't imagine if I was just running this webinar and saying, guys, you have to do launch parties. I did one last week. I've got one booked this week. I've got an online one next week. Like, you guys know that I'm actually doing what I'm actually preaching. So the best way, you can't motivate anybody. You can't push them into anything, but all you can do is inspire them and show them the success stories that people are having with launch parties. And, you know, at the end of the 30 days, they just might not be ready for that yet, Chelsea. So keep inviting them to yours just to come along and learn. Keep sharing the success stories. Keep going out and doing it for other people, or being at other people's launch parties, so they develop that. And we talked about it last week. We just developed that culture of launch parties. Like, that's just what we do next. Remember those words. And eventually some will, some won't, you know. But never give up. Like that girl for 18 months. Seriously. 18 months. A lot of you would have given up, I'm sure.
Heidi, if you're not using like a template or the opportunity meeting slides, and you're just sort of sitting around a table having a conversation, like, I would get scared that I'd just like, I wouldn't get my point across. Is there any points that you always want to portray in?
Yes, I guess I follow a little bit of a template that I introduce myself, and I share my story. I say, you're probably wanting to know how I got to this point. So, you know, 4 years ago, I ordered my first, you know, tell my story. So what I'm just going to explain a little bit about the system and the products to you. So that's what I do. Then I explain a little bit about the company. People will try and interject with questions, and sometimes I just say, I'm actually going to get to that bit, you know, like, hold that question, so that you just flow. And then at the end, you know, you open it up for questions. It takes about an hour, I'd say, by the time everything's finished.
And does that work when you're just sitting around a table with people?
It works better.
Okay.
Because you've got them engaged then. Like, standing in front of a room, sometimes I find people have, I've got to go. You know, they've got that easy route, and a lot of people don't know how to close. But sitting around a table, it's like, it's much more intimate, if you like. And so, you know, people can't just get up and say, I got to go. They'll actually say, yeah, I'm really interested, you know, I'll put the order through on Wednesday, or, yeah, I'm ready to get started, or this would be great for my mum. Or, so you're picking up on, I think it actually works better around a table.
Okay. Thanks.
Great. Anyone else? So a question is, how many launch parties do you run? You know, in the early days, I was doing 2 or 3 a week out a night, and I was going to head office once a week. So it was a good 3, 4, sometimes 5 nights a week spent out building my business. But it started to duplicate very quickly, and other people started to do it. So the Lauren Petrovics, the Emma McKeelers, the Emma Carreras, all those people that you know are doing very well in their businesses, started to do what I was doing. And so, you know, that obviously builds my volume and it builds their volume. And, you know, it's not the only way to build this business, but like Krystal said, it's the easiest way. It's definitely the easiest way to build this business.
Heidi, I've got a question just around the launch parties, obviously. What are your thoughts about, say, for instance, in my child's kinder, there's a community board and they put, you know, things that's happening in that hall, etc. What are your thoughts around doing a launch party out there and advertising it on a community board?
Yeah, absolutely. Any way that you can do that. I just think you're going to have a harder time inviting people if you don't have that relationship. Not many people are going to go, oh, launch party, I'm going to do that. You know, like it's based on, oh shit, I've seen Katrina. She looks amazing at the moment. She's lost some weight. She's been doing these parties I've been seeing. Yeah, I might come to one of those, and then bang, you invite her. And so I think that's just all you've got to worry about. Like, you know, people have done letterbox drops, and if there's this is relationship marketing. People are buying from you. They're not necessarily buying Isagenix. They're buying from you because they know, like, and trust you.
Yep.
So don't be disheartened if nobody turns up to that sort of thing.
Hi, Heidi. It's Rach here.
Hi, Rach.
Hi. I just wanted to comment back to Talina there, because she said something about, you know, putting up a roster for that, and just what Krystal was saying as well. So what we've just decided as a Canterbury team as of last week was we put together a roster for our launch parties between about, I think there's about 6 or 7 of us. So we're just rotating launch parties as of next week. So going from, so we've committed to that, doing it on a weekly basis, and then just, you know, going to everyone's launch parties, supporting them, sharing our stories. So that's something that we've committed to, and yeah, because everyone's from different, you know, from different teams, but it's funny because they're all talking about Heidi and your launch parties. So yeah, so that was something I just wanted to put out there as well.
What do you mean, Talina, about creating a roster? I mean, you're in Mexico. Are you there still?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah, I mean the roster mainly for people that have in Sydney, Brisbane, because it is hard for me to keep up with what's going on back in Australia. So if there's just a platform where people can post their launch parties, maybe even in this chat. I know we do it among our Derby team with who's doing what when. Yeah, because Heidi, as you said, there's not many launch parties going on, so maybe that could be a way that we can do more among us. Just putting it out there. If anyone's got anyone in Mexico, hey.
So, yeah, and you know, when I did those launch parties in 30 days, I did put up a roster, but I guess it's hard because everyone's in different groups, and you know, so just advertising it, you know, and allow and being friends with people that are in your team so they can see what's going on. I always advertise mine in my cleansing group. I don't so much do it to my my personal profile because I just get like literally thousands of Isagenix people turning up, which could be actually detrimental to the small intimate group that I want to actually create with a launch party. But, you know, you guys should definitely be doing that, especially if you want people to come and share their stories and get support. So it's a great thing. Are there any other questions? It's my husband. Now he walks out. He was dancing and being smarty.
I shared the shot.
He shared the shot, he told me. What's he having a shot for at 8:19? Honestly. Still doesn't know how to use the products. Actually, he just came off a 2-day cleanse. I'm pretty impressed. Anyways, are there any other questions, guys? And I'd love to see you really set yourself a challenge. And I don't mean just booking one launch party. I mean looking into the future, looking on your left sales team, looking on your right sales team. Who can you help? You know, who can you help flick into action? So I showed you my little whiteboards the other day, but I've refreshed them today. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 consultants pegged on there that I need to create a consultant. I've got 6 managers. So I'm looking at those groups of people and I'm actually booking launch parties in for them. So I know a couple of people on this call already. We've got some booked in. I know Melissa, I can't get up to Townsville for you, but we're doing one online, which we've posted. And I know Adrian's got one on Thursday night in DY, you know, so I'm harassing Alex to do a launch party, but he's lying in bed looking too comfortable. You know, so these are the people that are on my whiteboard that I want to help, and I know the best way to help them is to getting them into a launch party. So be looking in your downline reports, be looking on your left side, be looking on your right side, looking who you can help, who are your next stage consultants, managers, directors. By the time they get to director, you're just hoping that they're doing this kind of by themselves, which, you know, I can give an example of Chelsea. She's running launch parties by herself now. And so, yeah, like really be setting yourself a task. And, you know, if you really want to flip your business into action, you know, I remember a year ago sitting, well, it was a little bit longer than a year ago, I remember sitting in bed with my husband and our business had gone backwards a little bit. And he said to me, well, what did you do in the beginning that you're not doing now? And it was those massive launch parties, because, I mean, I'd worked so hard, I'd maxed out, and here I was in bed thinking I didn't have to do that anymore. And that was just ego talking. And so I realized from that conversation, and he realized as well, that he was going to have to support me massively with the kids. And over the next 30 days, I put out to the team that I would fly anywhere and I would do anything. And we did 28 launch parties in that 30 days. And I saw about a 20% increase in my business volume over the following 90-day period. And I also saw 2 executives flip out of that. Not my personally enrolled executives, but we dig deep in this business, you know. So, you know, I would want you to set yourself a challenge. I can't make you do it. I mean, honestly, if that Thailand trip was put up when I started this business, I would have won it. But, you know, I want you all to be in it, and you've got to be in it to win it. Not just the trip, but you've also got to be in it to win it if you really want to make this business work for you. And as I said, not the only way to build a business, but the simplest way to build this business. So,
can I ask one quick question?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
When you said look down your line, that's made me think of something. So if we've got people who are, I'm trying to encourage them to have a party, does it have to, if they're a bit, I think, you know, their block is having it in their home or having people in their home, can you say, we'll have it at my place with your friends? Or are we trying to encourage them to be, you know, wanting to duplicate, have it in your own home? I'll come, but have it in your own home?
Sometimes I've held launch parties for other people. You know, I've had them at my house, and to be honest, it's worked better. I just always warn them is that your network aren't going to want to come to a stranger's home.
No, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I always say, look, you're just going to have a harder time getting people there. But, yeah, I've absolutely held it for other people.
Yeah, okay. Or, I mean, what do you think about external venues? I guess, again, they're not so personal, but is it easier to get people along to somewhere, you know, like a you know, venue room, intimate venue room or something?
In the home is better. It's always been better.
Yeah.
People feel comfortable. Your friends and family will feel comfortable in your home. They'll think if you've hired a venue that perhaps you've got lots of people coming and it won't matter if they don't turn up.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
But I know you had a really good one at that external hall.
Yeah, Amelia and Mel did that. I came along. Yeah. But it was a good turnout. But I think I've had a couple, friends say, "Oh, my house is too small. I'd like to live in a bed sit almost, or So I can understand that. But maybe, could you say there even just well, how about we get the three of your mates and we meet in a coffee shop? That's a kind of launch.
I think that's a little bit of an excuse. I lived in a tiny little townhouse when I started, and I had I think my biggest launch party there was around 50 odd people. And when I did it to a community centre, it was good for the culture of the business, but it did start to see prospects come down. So, I really encourage the home. It doesn't matter how big or how small your house is. I never had this big house when I started. That was the whole idea of starting the business, right?
Yeah, sure. All right, cool. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, I won't keep you any longer. It's nearly been an hour. If there's no more questions, I'll set you some little tasks for this week, but thanks for tuning in. Still got really good attendance. We had 37 people on the call, so that's really good. And I just want you to, a lot of people say, oh my God, you've dropped, it's dropped off. That's really good. 37 people 5 weeks later is really good out of 50. So just expect that to happen within your own business. It's another lesson that we all learn, is that people can be keen, but they're not necessarily committed. But 37 of you are, so really thank you for that. And I think I had about 4 apologies. So we're still sitting at a good, 80% attendance, which is fantastic. So if there's anything you want to know, I think I'm going to call it quits next week, because I think I've taught you enough that you need to know to go and do this business. You need to stop getting ready to get ready, and you need to just do it. So if there's anything that you're screaming out for, please write on the group or PM me, let me know. But yeah, I think next week will be our last week. All ready for summer. Shoot into summer. Okay? See you guys.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thanks.